The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi everyone. Today in Aging Horizons, we're going to be talking with Katie Lovell, who's our legal services developer. And I have got her on the spot. She's going to tell us what that means, what her programs are all about, and what she does to help older folks in Montana every day with legal kinds of actions and resources and contacts. You stay with us. We have a lot of show for you today.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
My goal is to keep my patients safe, and my goal from the beginning has always been to keep my patients safe. Most of the time, these are elderly people. Taking care of these people, it terrifies me, and I'm scared for patients who are not vaccinated. I'm petrified for these folks because we just see how quickly they can go down in flames. But the way out of the pandemic is the vaccine, and we have it. It's at our grasp. We can end this. Game over if we get enough people vaccinated.
The human heart. Even at its strongest, it's a fragile muscle. Chest and arm pain, shortness of breath, are signs of a heart under attack. But 3 numbers can save a life. Dial 911 at the first sign of a heart attack. Quick response from medical experts can save your life.
I was 45 and it happened to me, a heart attack.
Dialing 911 saved Ryan's life. Now he's here and he's healthy.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and as I said in that open, we're going to learn about the legal services developer that's with the Office on Aging here in Montana, and just what her programs are all about and what they can do for you. And I tell you what, there's a lot. So you're going to want to sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and get ready for this information, because it's going to be great. Katie Lovell. Katie, so nice to have you.
Thank you.
And you are, as I said, our legal services developer there in the Office on Aging.
Yeah.
And you know, this is so fun for me because we were talking off camera about what does that mean?
I know, it's a
but
confusing
it means
title.
so much. There's so much packed in there. Let's get just an overview.
Sure. Well, generally what my job is to expand the civil legal services available to older adults in Montana. So that can mean so many different things, and really it does. Our program has so many different facets. So the first of which is sort of our advice program, and that program focuses on providing legal advice on civil legal issues to older adults in Montana.
And let's just have a tiny discussion about civil legal
Sure.
issues. What does that mean?
So civil means it's not a criminal issue. So you haven't robbed a bank,
Okay.
you haven't run over your neighbor's dog with your lawnmower, you haven't.
Nothing that's going to bring charges to you.
Right, exactly. You're
Okay.
not being charged with anything. You might be being sued. That can happen a lot in credit issues. You could be having an issue with a landlord or a neighbor.
Yeah.
You could be having an issues with a contractor. Maybe you got one of the bad contractors that float around Montana in the summer especially.
Yeah.
So those are all civil legal issues.
Okay.
So much of the way that you touch the world on a daily basis is in a civil legal way.
Right, exactly. And so I just want to make really clear, as you've said, it's not criminal matters.
Right.
It's these things that just plague us every single day.
Absolutely. It's the way that most people interact with the criminal justice system on a daily basis, is in much more of a civil way. Very, very rarely are you going to come into a criminal charge or anything like that. It's mostly going to be you're having an issue with a debt collector, you're having an issue with another party that's involved with contracts or warranties, deeds, anything like that. All of that is civil.
Great. Okay. So thank you. Good for stopping and throwing that in.
Sure.
So who can be actually helped with your program?
Sure. So our program is funded by the Older Americans Act, which means that its focus is on adults who are 60 years of age or older, or an adult with a disability. But so we focus primarily on that group. And then we also focus on caregivers and family members who have questions, who are working with an older adult. And then primarily a large section of who we work with is aging professionals. So adult protective services, ombudsman, area agency staff, people that are doing that in the community work every day.
Right. And when we're talking about the adult protective staff and the ombudsman, they're throughout our programs, they're at Aging to give advocacy and confidential kinds of help and that sort of thing.
Right.
Are your programs like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a statewide program, so people from Ekalaka to Broadus to Thompson Falls, all over the state of Montana can call and receive these services, and all of our services are confidential, so we can get you the help that you need without having to worry about involving someone else.
And let's just talk a little bit of, we say we're going to help. What does that look like? I mean, what I would be thinking perhaps is, there's a lawyer there that's going to talk to me and fix my problem.
Sure.
But it's a little more complicated than that. Why don't you talk about it?
So a lot of times, I think the vast majority of people that we talk to have a civil legal issue, and they just have absolutely no idea where to start or what to do.
Exactly.
They're willing and able to do a lot of work themselves, but they don't know where to start, and they've never been involved in the justice system before. Maybe this is the first time they've ever had a debt collection issue or anything like that. So they're looking for answers, and that's what our program really specializes in, is that advice piece. So letting people know what their situation looks like, what their options are, and what their next steps are.
And I want to say that the letting them know what their options are is so important.
Yeah.
Because so much of that kind of as you said, people don't have this experience maybe a lot. And so much of that they might know from television or movies or, social media or something, and it might not be true.
Right. And a lot of it, even if you've dealt with this with a sister or a friend in another state, Montana's laws are very different sometimes. And what your rights and responsibilities are may be very different in Montana than they are in California or Nevada or Texas, New York City. And your resources are also going to be really different. And we specialize in helping people in Montana.
Right. And what are the resources? What are some of the resources that you can hook people up with?
So we do a lot of, like I said, advice. Then we have a lot of forms that people can utilize for a lot of their estate planning needs or some of their deed work that they might need to do. We work with a large group of attorneys. So if we have to make a referral out to the private sector, we have a large group of people that we already work with that we know are good and experienced that we can refer people out to. And then we have a ton of training information that we've already developed that's easy for people to sort of digest and help them get more of the knowledge and understanding of their legal issues.
And Katie, that is exactly spot on what I think is necessary in this realm, because I've never thought about it, but you're right. Most people don't come in contact with this.
Right.
Where do you start?
Yeah.
What do you have to fill out? And what's the expense if I have to go hire somebody?
Sure.
And I think most folks like myself are going to first say, I want to do as much of the footwork as I can, so that I can keep my information straight and not costing me.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Katie, that is great, great, great to know that it's there. And folks, this is another one of those hands up, not handout. This is a place where you can get the information you need to make sure that your life can go on in a great way like it is right now, and you don't have to worry about these sorts of things. We'll be right back. We have a lot more to tell you.
Respite. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. Will you provide it?
The hard part about
having outside help is that there's not a lot of people out there who can do that kind of work. We've been very fortunate that our Bonnie has been with us for 7 years. I don't know what I'd do without her. I need her in our lives. She's our second mother. And I can't help but think of her that way.
To find out how to change lives, including your own, call 800-224-6034 or visit respite.mt.gov.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
I have so many questions about power of attorney.
Well, some powers of attorney are for finances and others are for healthcare decisions.
A power of attorney designates an agent who would make decisions on your behalf.
While making a power of attorney, you have the ability to control your agent's power.
You also have the ability to decide when that POA would take effect.
Wait, am I giving away all my rights?
Power of attorney isn't a license to make any decision for you, just those that you've specified.
Your agent should be somebody that's working in your best interest, but it should also be somebody that you would trust.
What if they try to abuse their power?
Protective measures like third-party accounting, secondary signatures, defined spending and gifting limits can help protect against financial exploitation. An agent's powers can always be limited by a customized power of attorney, and they can be revoked by you or the court if the power of attorney is abused.
So carefully drafted estate planning documents can help ensure that your finances are monitored, but not abused.
If you or someone you know is being exploited, please report to Aging Services Bureau at 844-277-9300 or the Legal Service Developer at 1-800-332-2272. This message sponsored by the DPHHS Aging Service Bureau.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Katie Lovell today, who is the Legal Services Developer for our Office on Aging. Welcome back, Katie. Always great to have you.
Always great to be here.
Because you have such good information. One thing that I think we should really discuss is estate planning.
Yeah.
And how people can, one, get some assistance with that, and two, why is it so important? And even if you're fairly far along, you know, and you're looking at retirement a few years away, you should still be doing planning even in that short amount of time.
Absolutely.
So talk about how we work with that.
Sure. So estate planning is one of the ways that we work with older adults most often. And it's really one of the situations and services that people are really looking for in the community, maybe can't afford, maybe have absolutely no idea where to start, maybe have heard a lot of great information. I know Marcia Getting from the MSU Extension Office has a great program.
Absolutely.
Lots of people come to us after having attended one of her series. So estate planning is the way that you tell the world, the court, to your family, what you want to happen to both your person and to your estate after you are, while you're alive, and then after you pass away. And there are some really important documents that help you make that plan.
Okay.
The first two are powers of attorney. And what they do is nominate an agent, a person that would act for you if you're unable to act for yourself.
And let's just be really clear about that, because that's always one that some people believe is pretty risky. It's not that you get to take over someone's life with
Absolutely
the POA.
not. No, and you can set really specific limits in
There
your
you
power of
go.
attorney. You can put really great protective measures in your power of attorney, and we specialize and have crafted a lot of really great language to make sure that those protective measures are in place for folks. And it's a way to nominate the person that you trust, not the person that's going to step in and be the helpful neighbor or the helpful niece.
Right.
It's the person that you can really trust with those decisions. That's why they're so important. And these are documents that everyone over the age of 18 should have. It's not something that you need to start in your 80s.
Right.
Start now.
Right.
However age you are,
Exactly.
start now.
Yeah.
I have them. My
Yeah.
husband has them.
Yeah.
People should have them at any age over the age of 18.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you know, the pre-planning, I guess it's not brain surgery, but pre-planning means you're not making those decisions during a horrible, chaotic time.
Right, you're not in crisis mode, and that's really, we don't make the best decisions in crisis mode, and sometimes we've really lost the ability to make the best decisions. So doing this ahead of when you need them, so important.
Yeah.
And there are other documents that you use while you're alive. There are documents that help convey your property, so like a transfer on death deed, which allows you to pass real property, your home, land, to someone or someone's of your choosing after you pass away without it having to go through the probate process.
Okay.
Super important document. Lots of people really like that one.
And can we just stop for 1 minute and talk about probate? Because that's another one of those really scary words.
That's one of those words that's terrifying, right?
Yeah,
but it really
right.
doesn't need to be. Probate is just the process by which a court steps in and helps distribute your assets.
Okay.
And sometimes it's necessary if you have over $50,000 in assets in only your name or property in only your name. Probate's going to be necessary. And sometimes it's just beneficial. If you have a lot of heirs, if there's any contention, it's a great way to transfer real property to some of your heirs. So it's not as scary as people think it is. It is a court process, so that can be a little intimidating, but not terrifying.
And time consuming.
Sure.
And are there ever fees?
Yeah, you would need to hire a private attorney to do it, so it is expensive, but it's normally a percentage of the estate, so not as bad as people think it's going to be.
Okay, but I'm still saying get it done before,
Right.
so it doesn't have to go to probate.
Sure,
'Cause that's
absolutely.
then you can avoid it completely.
You can avoid it, or you can make sure that you know that it's coming, and
Yes.
so your heirs can be really prepared for that
Right.
decision.
Exactly.
And the other major document we deal with for people is a will, which allows them to decide who they want to receive their estate. So children, grandchildren, friends, charitable organizations, allowing you to make that decision instead of how the state's going to make it is a really important thing for folks to really be prepared for.
Yeah, and Legal Services has a great clinic that they do each year. Can you talk about that?
Sure. So
Or
we
clinics.
have two different ways that folks can get their estate planning documents done through us. The first is a phone clinic. Those are offered year-round. You can live anywhere in the state of Montana. You get to do this process without even having to leave your couch, which is awesome, especially in February when we have 6 feet of snow.
Yes, exactly.
It's a free program. You just have to be a senior over the age of 60 or an adult with a disability.
Okay.
We also have in-person clinics. Those travel the state. They're usually from April to September. We post the list of locations usually in January. Folks can also just call the office and get the location. If we're coming to a town near you, they're a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend getting to do it in
I
person.
agree with you because I work with you in those great clinics, and they're the best about sort of getting folks in and getting them really educated about what's going to take place.
Right, yep, and you get to sit face to face with a trained volunteer who's really familiar both with our documents and then with the aging process in general, so a really great way to do that in a face-to-face manner. The phone clinic's also wonderful. Our paralegal, Suzanne, is the nicest person on the planet.
Absolutely.
She could explain these documents to absolutely anyway, and she really takes sort of the fear and the stress out of the process, because these can be hard decisions, and she makes it so easy.
Yeah, well, and you're right, she's really smart.
Yeah.
And really knows her stuff. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how we can get into your office and
Sure.
find out about that. Folks, how can you not want to plan ahead when you hear all these great services and contacts and resources that are out there waiting for you? All you have to do, in fact, we'll put the 1-800 number on the screen, and you can call that number. It's your area agency on aging, and get into the legal developers services and contacts and resources. We have a whole lot more to tell you about. We don't want you to leave until we're all done, so stay with us.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
When I first got here, I was struggling. No money, sleeping on the living room floor of a friend's apartment.
Diana Johnson, Energy Share Coordinator.
I know what it's like to need a hand. Now that I work with Energy Share, I help people pay their winter heating bills. I don't care if you're a veteran, a senior citizen, have a family, or are single. Energy Share is here to help.
If you need help paying your power bills, call or visit Energy Share, helping Montana families get through the winter since 1984.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Katie Lovell, and Katie is the legal services developer here at the Office on Aging in Helena. Let's just talk a little bit more about those clinics, either phone or in person. How does a person find out, or how do they get hooked up to get that service?
Absolutely. So they can call my office anytime. I pride myself on trying not to be a very scary person. So our program and our staff is really wonderful, really easy to talk to. We try to make it as not intimidating as absolutely possible. It's a really easy interview process. We just get some demographic information. We mail you a packet of information that has some places for you to fill out information for us. And then you make an appointment with Suzanne. It's a really easy process. And the in-person clinics are really similar. We do that same interview process and then give you some information to bring with you. We've tried to make it as simple for folks as possible with as much guidance along the way as possible. And there are no dumb questions in this.
Absolutely.
And there are certainly not questions we haven't heard. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes there are questions we haven't heard before.
Yeah.
But we're always willing to do the research to help you figure out what's best for you. And sometimes it isn't us, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And then if it's not, if you need something more than we can provide, then we're great at giving out referrals to folks, because what we want at the end of the day is for folks to leave our program with the absolute best estate planning for them, not for the state in general, not for people.
Right.
It's not a cookie cutter program. It's very individual, and it's what you need. And really, at the end of the day, that's what we all want.
Well, yeah, and you know, I think because you all do so much work with financial exploitation, you see this in the community, and you know that, you know, we want to be there to be truthful, honest, you know, have integrity, be transparent, so that you don't get hooked up with someone that isn't those things.
Absolutely. And these documents are an incredibly important way to make sure that you're secure against financial exploitation, and also to help pass intergenerational wealth to folks, because you've done the pre-planning, you've done what needed to be done to make sure that your estate passes to the people that you want it to. And that's so important.
You know, really, I'm glad you said intergenerational wealth, because I want to tell our audience to please look up generational wealth and see who's getting it and see who isn't, and maybe that helps them plan for their family's future.
Absolutely. In so many parts of Montana, you know, your biggest asset is your home.
Yes.
It's what you've saved and worked your whole life for, and we want to make sure that you get to pass that on to the people that you want to.
And you also have a training series for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a whole series of training that we do primarily for area agency staff and aging professionals, but it's great information for absolutely anyone to access. And it's on so many different topics, from Social Security to how to create your books for if you become incapacitated. What do you need to put in a file so that you have that information readily available, to family dynamics and how to deal with difficult family situations. If there's a legal aid or topic that relates to older adults, we've probably done a training on it, or we're going to.
Or if you haven't, you'll take recommendations.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always willing to find new things to train on. It's a great, and those resources are all captured and put on our website.
Right.
We also have a whole training series and resources for financial exploitation. It's something that we can never be too careful about. We can never know too much about. Unfortunately, scammers get smarter every single day. So we we as consumers need to as well. And we've done a lot of that work for you and put it on the website ready for you.
Well, and we're in this sort of funny, weird place with technology and people. The levels of comfort and being able to use technology are all over the board.
Sure.
So it would be awesome to have some ideas of how you can make sure, especially on the computer, that you're not getting scammed somehow.
Absolutely. And if you're not comfortable with the computer, if you're not comfortable with that technology, give us a call. I'm happy to go through those resources with you. Happy to mail them to you. However we can help get folks that information, we're willing to do.
Right. Another thing that I wanted to mention too about the clinics, back up for a minute and say, we always have folks there that are able to take the documents and get them
notarized?
Notarized, exactly. Yep. Sorry, lost the word.
That's okay.
Notarized. And so a lot of times people walk out having really nothing much else to do.
Absolutely. Other than making sure they distribute the documents, they have everything else done for them by the time they leave the clinics, which is a really wonderful gift that our volunteers provide to these folks. And those clinics are staffed by volunteers from all over the state. It's a wonderful experience. Yeah. And people are just really there because they want to help, and that's really wonderful.
Yeah, and those volunteers are, we should give a shout out to them as well.
Absolutely.
Because they are really wonderful, and they don't make any money to come there.
Right.
They get a piece of pizza for lunch from us, and that's about it. And then they give all this great time.
Absolutely.
And usually follow up if it's necessary. So we have a really nice system going on.
Yep, those clinics provide about $400,000 in in-kind legal assistance every year to Montanans, which is amazing.
Well, and when you think about, because that's one of the biggest fears that I feel about legal concerns is the what it will cost me.
Sure.
And to know that you've been able to save folks that's huge.
It's absolutely huge.
And it will only get bigger.
Yep, absolutely. And it's more people that have pre-planned, which is always, at the end of the day, that's our goal.
Well, we're down to our last minute, darn it. Will you just talk again about how to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Folks can call my direct line. They can call the 1-800 toll-free number to get a hold of us. We have a great staff. We have lots of people who are willing to help. It's a pretty easy process. It's just like having a conversation like you and I are doing.
Right.
It's not going to be scary.
Right.
I may ask you a whole bunch of questions, but it's going to be okay at the end of the day. And you don't have to feel bad or embarrassed about your legal issue because that's what we're there for. We're there to provide assistance. And like I said, folks can get in touch with me directly anytime.
Super. Katie, thank you so much for being here today with us and giving us all this great information. And folks, again, this is a hand up, not a handout. And it is there for you because you gave to your community, worked for your community, volunteered in your community for years and years. This is what you need when you might have a legal situation. So give Katie a call. And for Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman. Thanks for being with us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.